This one tendency that many people have nowadays holds so many of us back from living that true life of our dreams. You might have said this before, you might have done this before, you might have seen someone, you most likely have seen someone do this or use this to their disadvantage in their life before, but you might not have realized it. This is something that I had to realize very early on, right? For my own good, first of all, for my very own good. If I didn't, I would have been much worse off. But I see other people do it each and every day. I see it become a part of our society, how it has become a part of our society, and how much it harms just how we really interact with one another and how we interact with ourselves more than anything. Okay? Now, this topic is something that might be kind of controversial, maybe. Not, it shouldn't be, because I have my own experience with the topic I'm going to talk about that should disregard any sort of people who want to be mad about my belief on it and the way that I think it works. I think it works. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm here for you guys. This is something that I've learned that helped me tremendously, that anybody who applies it in their own way could benefit from. Okay? Now, the topic that we're talking about today is one that I've talked about many times before, and I've even talked about this before as well. This is our tendency as a culture to label ourselves and to label situations with general statements, general labels, right? Such as anxiety. We get into the mindset where, I'm just an anxious person, right? I just have anxiety. That's just my anxiety. Yeah, I just have depression, right? I just have anxiety, depression. This label is exactly what keeps it true. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't take me wrong here. You must deal with the emotions. You must deal with those things that are inside of you that aren't so pretty. I am by no way, shape, or form saying ignore what's inside of you at all. Emotional intelligence is the very backbone of us staying alive in a meaningful way and being sustainable, right? Being able to diffuse our strong emotions and turn them into positive emotions, or even just feel them out and be a part of it. This is essential for again, true emotional intelligence and being able to be just sustainable in life, right? And by no way, shape, or form am I saying ignore your emotions. Let me make that clear. What I am saying, though, is that many times when a doctor or when someone else outside of us tells us that we're anxious, or we somehow come to the understanding that we are anxious in general, and that we have been anxious for a long time, we are very likely to go ahead and label ourselves like, oh yeah, that's just my anxiety. Oh yeah, I'm just an anxious person. That's just me. You see, when you do that with anything, it becomes more and more true. You see, I could go and start doing drugs and tell myself that I'm a junkie, and I will become more of a junkie for the sake of the understanding there. There's a hard extreme, right? But I know it may be hard to fill it out and understand it, but yes, you telling yourself that you are a generally anxious person, or that that's just me, I'm just anxious, that is going to create more anxiety. When you identify it, whatever you identify with is what you truly are. Y'all have heard me talk about many times before, in my past, I was a generally anxious person. I had very anxious tendencies. I try and do my very best to make statements such as I used to be, I had very anxious tendencies, as I just mentioned. Like it's to the past. It's what my old concept of self. It was something in the past of mine, right? I try to make sure I always state those things because it's not me anymore. I don't want it to be anywhere near me. I want to eliminate those tendencies altogether from my consciousness. And I can, and I will, and I must, and I have for the most part. And it's a conscious process, right? You spend your whole life like that. You got to work your way out of it. And I know that's part of the problem here. I know that's part of why we label ourselves. Because maybe we try to get out of these tendencies. We try to get out of these habitual thinking patterns for a while, forever maybe, not forever, but we try for a long time, and it continues to beat us down. And that emotional reaction to that is what causes us to really continue to blend in with the habit. Okay? So stop labeling yourself, right? Now, as far as breaking down the habit to actually be less anxious and actually break the disorder that is anxiety and not have it a part of your life, because I promise you it's so much better the farther and farther you get away from it. You need to read some books. Atomic Habits is an amazing one for any sort of habit creation or destruction. But in that book, he talks about how to build or break a habit, and he breaks it down into very simple steps, right? It's, cue, craving, response, reward, right? The cue makes you think about whatever the habit is or the action. The craving is your craving for it, is you wanting to do it because of how you think it'll make you feel. Your response is you doing it to make it happen. And reward is the reward you feel for it happening, for doing it. And this is a cycle, right? So what you need to learn how to do, if reading that book has helped me tremendously, you need to read that and start to apply it to different areas of your life, such as your anxious tendencies, such as, things that bring you more anxiety, right? If you watch a lot of social media, I guarantee you that's making you more anxious, right? So you can use that book and the understandings of it and habit destruction altogether to slowly break down your unhealthy habits as far as social media goes or whatever it may be. Okay? Essentially what you're doing is you are breaking down the habits over time to be less anxious, right? Of course. But in that book, he also mainly talks about, one of the big things he talks about is changing from the inside to out, changing the identity to change all of the actions, all the patterns. You see, most of us have this concept where we need to change what we do on the outside to change what's on the inside. No, it's the opposite. You must be to then do the things that you want. You must be the person you want to be to do the things you want to do, to have the things you want to have, not the other way around. So you need to become that person that doesn't have anxiety. And the first part of that is to stop labeling yourself. Stop believing yourself to be a genuinely anxious person in everything that you do. And that takes time. It takes time. But trust me, you stay on the path, it will get better. If you need to work with a licensed professional, you can do that. I've done all the work I've done by myself. And, it's taken me some time, for sure. Now, I haven't been solely dedicated and focused on it this whole time, like I could have been. But it's been one of my major focuses to get past. And so I have came leaps and bounds from where I used to be. So you can do the same. You can do the same by yourself. You can do the same with a doctor or a therapist of some kind. But whatever you do, that's just my opinion, stay the hell away from the antidepressants, the anti-anxiety medications. Because that's an external solution created by doctors in a lab, created by scientists, created by man to fix an issue that is created all within you. Like, anxiety is created all within you. You're the one who does it. I know it's hard to feel. I know it's hard to accept, but that's the reality. I had to accept it. If you don't accept it, then you'll never get past it on your own. Have a great day. Love your life.